Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the latest episode of the Genesis Cloud Community's Q&A show, the show where we answer your pressing questions in the Genesis online community. My name is Matt Lawson. I'm your online community manager, and today we're back with two Goliaths of the community. I'm talking about Robert Wakefield-Carl and George Ganal, both community members with over 5,000 discussions each. So put that math together, that's 10,000 discussions. Very impressive. You know them, you love them. Today, Robert is going to talk to us about interaction categories. Let's go ahead and hop right into the panel. Robert and George, welcome to the show. Hey, Robert, George, welcome back to the show. How are you guys?
Doing well,
Doing well,
thanks.
Matt.
Getting
Good.
ready for experience, that's for sure.
I know. I was just about to say it's been 2 weeks since we recorded, but I feel like I talk to you all almost every day because we are going to be doing a session at Experience, which is really exciting. And we hope everybody who's there comes out because that would be really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably already know who you all are. We covered it last time, but just real quick, let's do some introductions. George, today, let's start with you.
I've been around for a bit. Started with Interactive back in 1999 and have held a bunch of positions over the years since then. One of my favorites having been as the volunteer coordinator of the forums for what is most recently known as Peer Connect.
Hmm.
Got to know a lot of people through that and through education. But then once we got acquired by Genesis, I pretty much have concentrated on Genesis Cloud ever since then, and currently as a technical adoption champion, helping our wonderful customers learn how best to apply the different features that are available in Genesis Cloud.
Yep, that's awesome. Great to see you again, George. Today, Robert's going to be doing the main presentation. That's why I saved him for last.
Mhm.
Robert, go ahead, tell a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, Robert Wakefield-Carl, you probably know the name from the community. I've just put up a few posts up there. George and myself have kind of dominated that answering going on up there. But been in the interactive Genesis workspace since for about 25 years now, actually. It's been a long time. Before that, I was certified on just about every PBX out there, from DMS switches to Executones to Avaya, Nortel, and all the cloud solutions as well. So trying to be an answer man for a lot of things is what my job is. So
Very cool. Well, it's great to have both of you on the show. Again, we'll be an experience. If you see any of us either at a booth, walking around, please feel free to say hi. We'd love to talk to you. And Robert, you have a really interesting presentation today that I'm looking forward to getting into. Before we decided what we would be recording on, you and George kind of threw out a couple of different topics, and this is the one that you kind of selected. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your topic is, why you picked it?
it's called interaction categories. And if you believe it or not, we've had that in the product for almost a year now. But because of the visibility, we haven't had use of it. And now that we have, the ability to see this in our content view, it really changes the way that you should be really doing your content searching for quality to find those recordings that really make sense to do quality evaluations on. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Mhm.
That's awesome. Well, I would love if you're ready, I'm ready. Do you want to go ahead and start your presentation?
Sure, let me try and share my screen here for you. Yes, when you're looking at recordings, in the past, we would just be sampled recordings and people would get to like 1% of the recordings, and it would take them 20 to 30 minutes per call to get an evaluation done. It's because they have to listen to the call, see if it's fitting for their evaluation form, maybe go to another one, see if it's long enough, if it's short enough, whatever it may be. With our content search, it makes it a lot easier to find these. And we've had many things in there like sympathy, sentiment, and empathy scores, wrap up codes, topic spotting. All of these things have been in there to help target. But one of the things that came out not a little over a month ago is detected categories. And this is going to really change the way that quality managers work, because these other things can target things like sentiment. Was it a good call or a bad call? Empathy. Was my agent nice or not? Topics. Are they saying something? But with detected categories, we can really get down into a lot more of that. Let me just go here. The other thing is trying to bring these things into our AI insights as well. Being able to use this instead of reading through a transcript, maybe just have a summary, looking at that reason for contact, resolution, action. We don't have these things right here in a reporting yet, but they are accessible. They're in the details. You can get them through the API, so they're very accessible. But now I can say, hey, how many of the follow-ups do I need for a resolution of loan or a contact of loan application that was unresolved in this particular case? Now I can start using analytics in the background to find those conversations and find the structures that, hey, when they did this and they had this resolution, I had this follow-up action. Maybe that's something I need to train my agents on to do so that they can get better and faster and more efficient in theirs. But then, what we're doing with interaction category now is we can now target behavior. I'm not talking about targeting how nice the agents are or not, how good the call was not, whether they were saying certain words, but I can now say, what was the behavior of the agent on these calls? I'm going to go over to my nifty new interface with our new UI here. And I'm going to go into a conversation just to show you some of these things that we have now when you're looking at quality. Now, when we had interaction categories, like I said, for nearly a year now, you would only see those down at the bottom of this details tab. Almost nobody knew they were there. I mean, I would ask people, did you use interaction categories? I didn't know we had that. And where do you see it? And the only way you could do it is down in here. We had no API reporting. We had nothing available to see those things. And so they weren't used. But this is a very, very, very rich tool. Let me just show you an example over here. In my content search, I have, again, sentiment. I can see this is a bad call, but the agent really tried. And I can see all of these topics in there. But better, I can actually see these categories. Like this one was a lawyer mentioned and participant angry, upset. What's the difference between that and a topic? In the topic, I'm listening just for words that are said or phrases that are said within the conversation. It could be at the beginning of the call. It could be at the end of the call. It could be in any place within the conversation. But now when I go into my content conversation intelligence and come down into my interaction categories, let's look at some of the behaviors that you can now look for. For instance, a knowledge agent or agent knowledge gap. We have a common, topic called agent knowledge gap. And what we can do with categories, I can now start combining topics or phrases within the conversation. So I have the problem of agent knowledge gap, and I'm saying near, because we have a drop down that has and or near here, near 20 seconds or 10 words if it's digital, that the customer is expressing upset. They're being upset. So now I have a behavior. The agent is saying, I don't know. And the customer is saying, why don't you know? Something like that. Or you should know this, that type of thing. Remind me of something the other day with a phone company. I had to teach them what the difference between SIP and PRI was. It was amazing conversation back in the old days. Yes. But now we can say, okay, agent, when you have that agent knowledge gap, we see that customers are being upset by what you're saying. So maybe don't say, I don't know. He says, good question. Let me find some information that'll help you. That's a little bit better than that, and it will probably not have the customer upset. The other thing, what if you have like a compliance message or a greeting that you want all of your agents to say? Now, I might say, hi, this is Robert in the beginning of the call. Okay. But I may not say, hey, your call will be recorded until I remember it later on. After it's already recording the voice of the customer. That is a violation in many areas if you don't do that, right? So I can again use my near and say, okay, the agent is saying their greeting, and then within 10 seconds, I want to know that the compliance message is being said. But by the way, I want that greeting to be said within 15 seconds of the start of the conversation. not 15 seconds from the end, not halfway through the conversation. I want this to happen at the beginning of the call. So how many of my agents' behavior is saying their greeting and their compliance within that first few seconds of the conversation to really capture that and what it means? So now I can target those things. I can now say, okay, find all the calls that don't have this category, and then start targeting learning and coaching to these agents to say, you have to answer the call this way. You have to say your call may be recorded. We could be in trouble. We could have a $10,000 fine if you don't do this. So you can start having agents understanding what the agents are doing, not only saying, but how they're saying that and doing that. We had a perfect example of a client the other day that was using a topic for free. They don't want their agents mentioning that anything is free at all. Never, ever. The problem was the agents were saying our toll-free number is, and guess what? The topic spotting was picking up free in that case. And so now the agents were getting dinged because they were telling somebody their toll-free number. So now you can go in and say, I have a criteria of that free mention in there, but make it false if they say toll free. So now I can really evaluate those topics in a very easy to understand way. Now, one thing I do like is the way that Genesys put this little preview on. It's a little bit easier to understand that topic mention is found at least once. And by the way, you can say customer upset. They do it once, I don't care. But if I have 3 topics of customer upset in that conversation, I want to know about it as a detected category. But here I'm saying found at least once, except when toll free is found at least once in there from the external participant or internal participant, whatever it may be. So I really like that we can have the ability to come in here and say, I want it, how many times or not found. Maybe I say, hey, there's a free mention, but they don't mention something else like an upgrade, or they don't mention that there's a promo code for that. They just are offering a free product. And then having the position from, for voice or digital, and voice is the number of seconds before, from the start or from the end of the conversation. One of the good ones is follow up. Okay, is there anything else I can help you with, Mr. Customer? And you can come into your categories and have one for that. At least within 1 minute of the end of the conversation, am I asking, did this answer all your questions? Is there any follow-up that I needed to do? Is there anything else I can help you with? So as you can see, I'm not just looking at conversations and figuring out what's being said in them. I'm actually looking at how those agents are communicating and what causes maybe a customer upset or a cancel mention or a lawyer mention. What is coming before, and really target those. Now I have a great way of doing evaluations because I can now let me go into my analytics again over here, and not have to search for long conversations. This one, I can just say, hey, I need to find a good call and a bad call for Scott. So I come in here and I see his bad calls, but the only thing that was the topics, just a few topics in there. I don't have any of the categories I'm listed in. So I would probably rather do this one. But actually, this one is a better one because it's a bad call. He really tried. There's lots of topics going on, and it really targeted one of those categories that I'm looking for a behavior. Now, that's one code call. Guess what? Agents always tell you, you always pick my bad calls every single time, right? You don't get any of my good calls. Guess what, Scott? I did. I'm going to just reverse this and find one of your good calls. You don't have that many good calls, Scott. So that's why I never find any. But here's a good call, and he didn't have any sentiment. There's a few, not many things in there for there. I probably want to choose this one only because of the topics that are in there. So this is how we really want to train our quality managers to target better conversations, to limit the time that they're choosing. Because now within a minute or so, I can target a conversation. I can look through it because I have the transcript. I have all the topics. I have the empathy and all that. I don't have to listen to a thing. And now with things like AI scoring, I just say evaluate, and the AI will score it for me. 3 to 5 minutes, I'm done. taking that time 20 to 30 minutes down to 10 to 5 minutes, I can get 10 times more done in an hour. 10 times more conversations can be reviewed. Most companies get only 1% of their conversations reviewed. How much more can they do with this? But better is they're targeted. They're really shaping agent behavior, being able to coach what you really want your agents to do. So I really believe in this type, this idea of conversation interaction categories and stuff, really to be the target for your evaluation process. Now, the onesie twosies randoms are great. I sometimes tell quality managers, go ahead and do the random selection. I want 2 calls per week per agent, but don't use that conversation. Say, hey, I have one for Scott. I go find a call for Scott and evaluate it. I have a call for Matt. I go find a call for Matt, and then just forget about that that evaluation that was provided to me, or that conversation that was provided me automatically by the system, so that they aren't wasting their time looking at a conversation that doesn't need to be evaluated. That's about it. Any questions from you guys?
Awesome. I mean, I think that was a really cool overview. This is a feature I haven't explored much myself. And you did a great job explaining it. I really could follow everything. I'll defer to George. George, what do you think? Any questions? Anything you wanted to point out real quick that Robert might have skipped over?
I think you may have touched on it briefly, but how would you also tie this together with the AI scoring feature that we brought out?
Currently, their AI scoring doesn't use anything like this. The AI scoring
Correct.
is actually generative AI that looks at this.
Hmm.
I would like to
Hmm.
see this and maybe some of the evaluation assistance that we have, where you can define specific topics in there. And that's what we
Yeah.
have done, is we've taught quality managers to build categories that are similar to their questions. And so they can just go through and say, hey, did this category? Yes. This category? Yes. So match the questions up in evaluations with the category that you're trying to
Hmm.
look for.
I was wondering if you had ever thought about looking at already, maybe look at it in the future. You have perhaps evaluations that are scored by AI, and they may come out with 30%
Yeah.
score. And then you go look at the categories, you might start finding correlations between those. I'm wondering
Mhm.
something of that nature. And it starts really starting to show you, okay, here are where people are failing in the category side. That also feeds into now they're failing on the evaluation side that's being done by the AI scoring, and start figuring out how do we train the agents better.
Yeah, well, one thing
Um,
is we're going to get more reporting of the interaction categories at the queue and the agent and the flow levels as we have for topics. Anik, our
mhm.
good old PM for that, says that will be out this fall. Also, the reporting team, the gamification team, is looking at categories to be brought into gamification. And so you can
Good.
now combine evaluation scores and the categories that are detected, much
Hmm.
like we do the topics. So those are two
Hmm.
good roadmap features that we're going to see to really enhance this.
And how do you recommend somebody use this in conjunction with, say, coaching feature or maybe development and feedback feature?
Yeah, I'm actually one of my colleagues and myself, we are actually presenting on this, is how quality
Hmm.
managers should change their whole behavior to become, instead of evaluation whips to get people in line, to
Right.
life-ring coaches to really pull people along and teach them good behavior. But if you don't have that behavior defined with these categories, you can't, give that agent any real data. You can say you just need to be nicer. Well, what does nicer mean?
Yes.
Well, you need to express these things in this way to the customer that
Mhm.
provides a better sentiment and it shows your empathy. That's a good call. That's a nicer call.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
I guess one of the things I always think about when I see something like this, because I would be starting at the ground floor on it. I mean, Robert, what kind of advice would you have if after watching this episode, somebody's like, wow, we really need to start using this? What, like any kind of like implementation advice, get starting advice, best practices, things to look out for?
Shameless plug, is that okay?
Shameless
So
plug.
I actually did 2 blogs. One of this on
Cool.
quality and one on interaction categories, and it's on my blog. If you ever see my tagline in my community, it's robertwc.blogspot.com, and that has those two actually were the two latest ones that I wrote about, and
Oh,
they're
cool.
just 5-minute reads. It really explains what you do, where you find it. It's a little harder to find in the new UI, but I'm getting used to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, no need to be shameless with those plugs. Shoot those links over to me and we'll include them in the description for this.
Sure. Mhm.
That'd be great. Well,
Awesome.
cool. Robert, if you want to, I think you can stop your share. Robert, thanks again for that great presentation. Leading up to this episode, we did ask if anybody out there had any questions, and we got kind of a few in. Some have already been answered, so we won't go over all of them. But our friend from the community, Anton, good to see you. They wanted to know if categories will be added to performance views and transcript views, limited to using categories with only content search right now, kind of limits the benefit of the feature. I think you already answered this, but just so we have a crystal clear answer, what do you know about that, Robert?
Well, I didn't find out about the interaction details. I'm pretty sure they could do one more tab. That's getting a little bit much. I don't know if you look at the details page, it's like in your face with everything, right? So probably that will be a later thing because it's just getting too much on that page. But I did get confirmation that we will have it in the performance view. So the flows, the queue, and the agent views will have like they have a topics tab, there'll be a categories tab for that as well. So
Mhm.
we'll be able to see these at an agent level or at a queue level, aside from interaction level in there.
Okay.
Like I said, hopefully the gamification team, they have it on the roadmap. They just haven't started development on it. So
Okay, cool. This question came in from Rami. Rami said they watched last week's episode where George talked about like workbenches, and they noticed that their save to Copilot button was grayed out. They ended up figuring out what was wrong, but it really turns out there could have been two things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anton mentioned one, the configuration name, and then Rami realized it was actually his issue specifically was a permission issue. George, anything you want to add to this?
Not too much. It's just that there are those little quirks that sometimes catch us. And in Rami's case, it was something that wasn't apparent at all from the interface. I had to go digging around to figure out what was wrong. Anton did mention one of the more common ones where if you don't enter the name, then it won't let you save it. It used to just say default up at the top. And if you didn't click on the word default, then there's no indication that it was unnamed or anything. But if you didn't click on it and name it, then it just
yeah.
frustrated the heck out of people trying to get that thing to save. But yeah, there's always one little thing that catches you, and I'm glad Robbie was able to figure that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially on this one because they don't put a box around it. It's just text.
Yeah,
You just gotta click.
yeah. Normally, something like that is great, and you're giving some kind of indication that you should click on it. But it does say enter now. It does tell you.
Awesome. Well, that was it for the questions that we got. We had one more come through the YouTube channel, but it was also posted in the community and got answered there. So I think with that being said, we can bring this series to a wrap. Robert, George, I love asking the dumb question, where can people find you? A couple of cool opportunities coming up. George, let's start with you.
Yeah, definitely. I will be at Experience. We have, of course, our own session that we're going to be taking part in. Have at least one other session that I'll be taking part in with some other folks from the CS side of things. And then also there's the whole CS Ask the Experts area that'll be at Experience. And I'll be there answering questions for people who want to come in. And you can also set up a session. You can sign up to get a room and bring in a bunch of people and have a discussion over anything you want to talk about for Genesys Cloud. So
Yeah,
happy to get together with you, and just make sure you message me either in the app, there's the Experience app that we can use Cvent, or just catch me here on community as well, and we can arrange a time to get together and just talk and answer your questions.
perfect. Yeah. Robert, what about you?
I'll be there Sunday through Thursday, actually through Friday morning. But yeah, I'll be at the conference. I'll be at our booth when we're doing our joint presentation on Tuesday. We are a platinum, sponsor. So we have this huge booth right inside the door as you walk in. You probably will see us.
Yeah.
There's always somebody there to talk about T-Tech and our relationships with Genesys and being the universe's largest partner, I guess. So, and on Thursday we have our own event right after the Genesys event where we invite clients to come and learn a little bit more about us and all of the technologies that we're using and the customizations that we have. We have a lot of customizations that we built around Genesys Cloud, and so just showcasing some of that on Thursday.
It'll be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing you both. Thank you for everything you do in the community. Again, just to reiterate, you're both here because you were both the first members to hit over 5,000 posts in the community. So I obviously could not thank you enough for your contributions, and I can't wait to see you at Experience and get to do a breakout with you. It's such an honor.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for all the time you put into doing this show, and I'll see you in just 2 weeks.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Bye, all. All right, that concludes this week's episode. Thank you again, Robert, George. Always a pleasure to record with you guys. I will be seeing them at Experience, and I really hope to see you as well. Come to our session. Come find me at the community booth. I will be around and would love to talk with you. We will be back with a new episode right after Experience, and that episode is going to be about one of the main topics on the Experience main stage. No spoilers here what that topic might be, but I think you're going to be pretty excited, especially if you're a regular member of the community, which I certainly hope you are. But anyway, I hope to see you in Experience. If not, I hope to see you in the community or back here in just a couple of weeks. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.